Hello again everybody, so I'm back again, and as I said in my last video, today is going to be the first of my 7 videos in 7 days challenge. So I'm feeling good about it today. I've got all 7 videos already planned, and I think there's some really good stuff you guys are going to really enjoy. Today is going to be something a bit different. Some of you might have seen that for their 80th birthday, the publisher Penguin has released 80 short classics for 80 pence, and they vary massively. There's some which are like ancient Greek dramas. There's lesser known works by 19th and 20th century authors that are very famous. There's all kinds of things, and it's really an interesting collection. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting all 80, which with staff discount at Waterstones it doesn't work out that expensive. But as soon as they came out I got 3. So the 3 I bought I will talk about in a book haul I'm going to do in the next couple of days. But today I want to talk about one of the books specifically, and it's this. So this is number 61 in the collection, which isn't particularly relevant, but it's basically a small selection of Aesop's Fables. Now, I remember reading Aesop's Fables when I was a child, and finding them really interesting and clever, and I've not actually picked anything up since then, so I thought, right, this is the perfect time, let's have a read of these and see what I think. And it's safe to say it's an interesting mix of stuff in here. There's some which are very clever still, that I still think are very clever, interesting fables with quite good messages. There are some which are very, very weird in today's society, where the message doesn't really work anymore. And there are some where just some of the choices made in the fable are unusual, to say the least. So today I'm going to be looking at 6 or 7 of the fables in here, and basically just saying why I think they're either really good or really weird. And it's a really interesting mix of stuff, so I'm quite looking forward to talking about them. So one of the first ones that I think is really interesting and clever still is called The Goat and the Donkey. So it's quite early on in here. And the general gist is the donkey turns the millstone, so grinding the wheat for a farmer. And because it's quite a high maintenance job, he's fed really well. Goat, on the other hand, has less of a role, doesn't get fed as much. So out of jealousy, the goat essentially convinces the donkey to play dead. When the donkey plays dead, the farmer has a big stress, calls a vet, and the vet tells him to make a medicine. Now, the medicine's main component is goat's lung, so the farmer kills the goat to heal the donkey. So it's a very standard morality tale, but I just think it's very clever because it's a very applicable message still about, you know, not being envious and jealous and not meddling in other people's affairs and kind of scheming to elevate yourself. And it's a really clever one that's done really well, and it's told in a really poignant way. And I just think it's very clever even now. It's one of the ones I read when I was younger, but still now it has the same kind of, oh, that's clever, yeah, good message, that it did back then. So another one which I found was really clever is called The Sleeping Dog and the Wolf. So in this, a wolf is hungry, finds a dog lying on the floor in front of a house. Wolf goes to eat the dog, and the dog says, no, wait, this is not a good time of season. I'm quite thin, I'm quite lean. There's a wedding soon. Wait till the wedding's done, there'll be a big feast. I'll be fat. I'll be better to eat then. Wolf stupidly says, okay, that's fine, disappears, comes back a few months later to find the dog sleeping on the roof of the house where the wolf can't get to him. So again, it's a very standard morality tale of outwitting your opponents, not being stupid and missing your opportunity when you've got it, and also about being really clever and that if you're wise, you can get out of a lot of situations that would otherwise be the end of you or cause you some real difficulties. So again, it's quite a nice message, and it's just another very clever way of telling it. So another one of my favourite ones is called The Ass Carrying Salt, and it's about a donkey, a pack mule, who's carrying salt, oddly enough. And it's a really hard load. He gets to a river and he's wading through the river, and he realises that as the river washes over the salt on his back, it makes his load lighter. So he squats down and wanders through, and it's easier for him. Next time he comes through, he's got another load, and this time it's sponges, and he thinks, oh, last time I crouched down in the water, it made it loads easier. Kneels down in the water with the sponges on his back, they get wet, the mule drowns. So it's quite an extreme fable, but again I think it's quite a clever one. I think it's still quite relevant. It's just all about not seeking to lighten your load in a way that would, you know, not benefit others, and not, you know, helping yourself at others' expenses, and the fact that it'll come back to bite you at some point. So again, another very clever one, very simple one, but still told in a really good way by Aesop. So next we're going to move on to some of the ones that are not quite relevant in modern society. So this one is called the gardener watering the vegetables. So the general gist is there's a gardener who's got a really neat little garden, waters all the vegetables, etc., but they don't grow much. And a guy walks past, sees all these wild vegetables going crazy on the other side of the road, growing massive, and asks the gardener, why'd you do it? Because obviously it doesn't work out very well. Now I'm just going to read you the moral of the tale. The moral is, similarly, children fed by a stepmother are not nourished like those fed by their true mother. So it's a very weird, antiquated view. Obviously, in modern society, I've got a stepmom. A lot of people got stepmoms. I don't think that's true in the slightest. And it's just quite interesting to see that, thousands of years since these were read, the differences are very, very, very funny. And that's very similar with the next one. The other one, which is a little bit weird in current society, is one called The Birdcatcher and the Wild and Domesticated Pigeons. So, in this, there's a guy who has domesticated pigeons and sets up a snare around them to stop them getting away. What happens is wild pigeons fly past and fly into the snares, and when the birdcatcher comes, he's tremendously happy because he's got more pigeons now. But the wild pigeons ask the domesticated ones, why didn't you warn us? Why didn't you walk us away or tell us? And the domesticated pigeons turn around and say, well, we're slaves, we've got more of a duty to our masters than we do to our fellow people. Obviously, we don't have slaves anymore. And that's what makes the message a little bit antiquated, is the fact that a lot of these are still so applicable nowadays, but we don't have slaves in Western society anyway. Obviously, there are still places that will have people treated as slaves, but it's just a very clever, very interesting to see how in those days they'd have used this fable to try and, repress the slaves and make them a particular, focus on their masters, not their fellow people. So it's very interesting, but obviously still quite antiquated and strange in modern society. So lastly, I'm going to look at two which are a little bit strange. Just generally strange, don't understand their place in that society or our society. So there's one called The Flea and the Man. And the general gist is, man's been bitten by a flea, and asks the flea, why are you doing this? Why are you constantly biting me? Flea turns around and just says, well, it's what I'm meant to do, it's what I'm designed to do, etc. And then the man just says, well, okay, I'm going to kill you. Anyway, I understand that it's not your choice, you're doing it because it's what you're made to do, but I'm going to kill you anyway. And the moral of the fable is essentially that we're not to take pity on the wicked or those that can't help themselves. We're to let them suffer or aid their suffering, which is a very, very weird message. I'm assuming it linked in ancient times to concepts of poverty and slavery, but still it's a very, very strange message. It's not, most of Aesop's fables are quite good life lessons. That isn't, and it's weird, to say the least. So the next one, similarly, is a little bit weird. I can kind of appreciate this one a little bit more for the message it's trying to say, but still, it's called The Ploughman and the Frozen Snake. So, a guy working in a field in the winter finds a snake that's frozen, takes pity on the snake, and puts it under his coat to warm it up. When the snake defrosts, essentially, he reverts back to his nature, bites the man, and kills him. So, the moral written in here is, the fable shows that perversity of nature does not change under the influence of kindness. So that's kind of about being fearful of nature and recognising that it's mankind's actions towards it aren't necessarily going to change how it acts. It kind of makes sense, but at the same time it's quite a negative message, but also you've got the same message of don't help people because they might kill you. So Aesop is much more mixed than I ever thought he was, I have to say. Some of them I can appreciate were suitable then and aren't suitable now. Some of them have still got good messages, but there are some in there which are either really spiteful and unnecessarily mean, or just promote really negative messages. So I'm almost a little bit disappointed I read this book because it's changed my opinion of what Aesop's fables are like, and I'm going to really struggle to recommend it to parents and children now because it's not all stuff that children should be reading about. Overall though, I have to say I am really excited about this series. I've really enjoyed reading this, and there's quite a lot of other stuff I've picked up and that I will pick up, that I wouldn't normally read. I wouldn't buy like an $8.99 full-size book that's 400 pages long because that's quite a big commitment, but I think I'll find quite a lot of new, interesting stuff that I would never have normally read in this format, and I'm looking forward to that. And this is a really good place to start with it. So there we have it. Interested to see what you guys think about this video, because I've really enjoyed making it, and I think it's quite interesting, but it depends whether you guys are going to like it or not, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think about it. As always, comment down below if you liked it, didn't like it, have any suggestions, have read any of the Little Dark Classics yourself. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, if you enjoyed it, and my Twitter and GoodReads are down below as well. Final reminder that also my 100 subscriber giveaway is going on. So I'm going to pop the link down to the video explaining all the terms and conditions down below. And you've got 5 more days still to get your entries in. I've already got about 15, but if you've got any more, you've still got time. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this, and day 1 of 7 done, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video.